Yeah, yes, indeed. I mean, in sync with market expectations, there is no rate cut and there is no change in CRR. But SLR cut, yes, it is a surprise at this point of time. Well, I think theoretically it means that the banks will have more money in their kitty to meet the credit demand as and when credit picks up. So it's for the past 2 years we have seen around 15% credit demand, and it expects that as economy comes back on the relatively higher growth path, there will be more credit demand. That is one part of it. So the banks will have more money, more resources, and secondly, it also symbolizes, or rather signifies, Reserve Bank of India's convictions in the government commitment to achieve fiscal consolidation, which means the government borrowing program, if not is cut, it will not go up further. But I think at this point of time it is more sort of symbolic, because the government banking system's average SLR holding is about 29%. So it doesn't mean that tomorrow the banks will suddenly rush to give money to corporations, and they will have reservations about picking up government bonds from the market. But it's I think indication of better days ahead that Reserve Bank of India expects. Better days in terms of fiscal consolidation, in terms of lesser government borrowing, and in terms of more demand for credit. If it's not dovish, it's certainly less hawkish, because if you say that it has talked about growth, which it did not do in the past policies. In the past policy, it spoke about downside risks, about the CSO estimate of 5.5% growth, but this time it says that the risks are evenly balanced. On the inflation side also, it says that achieving 8% inflation is evenly balanced, and till now it has been talking about no more rate hike. I mean, past policy it says that possibly you would not hike the rate, there will not be any requirement of hike the rate, but this time it said if the inflation drops below what RBI anticipates, it will create a headroom for rate cut, easing the policy. So to that extent is definitely less hawkish. Well, I think the message is pretty clear that I am doing my job. Hike was not warranted at this point of time, even though the retail inflation rose for the past 2 months, both in March and April, after dropping in February. So the hike was not warranted, but it could have been more hawkish in stance, but it has toned down the hawkishness. It's on the verge of the dovish policy. Essentially, it says that government, look, I have done my job, I have kept it on hold, and I'm waiting and watching what you want to do. And I think that if the budget sense is strong, which will possibly happen in July, the 1st of July, if the budget sends a strong signal of fiscal consolidation, and if we see that inflation trajectory is in sync with what Reserve Bank of India wants, I would not be surprised if there is a rate cut, if not in December, certainly by the end of the fiscal year.